Hey guys, welcome back. And in this lesson, we're gonna learn about Spring events. Well, this is gonna be a very simple topic and yet a very basic topic, and we should be having some knowledge on this topic as a Spring developer. So in this episode, let's try talking about how to create events in Spring, what is subscribers, what is listeners, what do we call that, publishers, and all these things. Okay, so this lesson, that the one that I'm going to create right now, this is going to be a very beginner friendly lesson. So if you never heard about events, you never worked with listeners, maybe this is one of the video you can get started with that. But if you already have some work experience in some other framework like JavaScript, or maybe if you have already worked with Angular or React, so maybe listener is a very common thing. Maybe you already have heard about it. In that case, please skip this video and watch the next video for some more in-depth knowledge. But I'm creating this particular video as a prerequisite for my Spring Security course. Well, there is no Spring Security knowledge is required to watch this particular video. Only the Spring core knowledge is well enough to watch this video. Maybe if you only know what we call that, dependency injection and auto varying. Okay, if you know what is the IOC container, what is dependency injection, what is what do we call that, how to create a configuration file in Spring, that's well enough to get started with this particular video. Well, I should have made this particular video during my Spring Core course, but you know that the Spring Core course I have created around 2-3 years back. And of course, at that time, I didn't want to make things complicated. But right now, this is the time to give you some knowledge on this particular topic, because we're going to talk about some more and more advanced thing in Spring Security in the coming days. And obviously, this eventing or event is one of the most important chapter for implement those kind of advanced thing when we're gonna implement that in our Spring Security course. So hopefully you guys are excited. Don't want to talk much about it. So if you are a complete beginners to Spring events, then just get started with that. Else you just skip to the next video in the list. Okay. Well, I hope you have decided. So let's get started. All right. And also I'll make sure that I am going to start the Zoom recording. So record to the cloud.
Recording in progress.
Okay, I've started the recording as well. Okay, let me get started. All right, so let me get started with the Spring events. Okay, why do we need this Spring event, and what is this Spring event is all about? Okay. Maybe so actually I was in a call, and I did not get much time to make some slides for you. So I thought how I'll be teaching you this thing, and I just came up with an idea and just created few slides for you. Okay, anyhow, I have created few slides, and I'll be giving you a walkthrough about all the slides today and tomorrow. And first of all, okay, let's not start from the Spring events. Let's start from the events in what we call in UI. So basically, let me open one of my text editor. Maybe I'll go for brackets. And first of all, we'll see events just right here. Okay, so if any one of you have worked in any of the front-end framework, or in HTML or in JavaScript or in Angular, you would have pretty much aware about the event. But still, I want to just give you an example. Let's imagine like we'll have a HTML page. Maybe I'll just create a new file and want to save it. I will name it as events.html. Enter. And imagine I'll have a HTML tag, and we also have a body, and we also have a sorry, this Zoom stuff is popping out on my screen. 1 second. So right now here we'll have a head tag. Okay, and think like we have a head tag and body tag, right? So imagine we have something in the body. For an example, I'll be creating a label, and there I want to create a text box. Let's say enter your name here. Okay, and basically let's say I'll be giving a text box here. I'll be writing input. Okay, and I'll be ending my input just right here, and let's say type equal to text, or let's say type equal to text, because I want to create a text box, and I want to give a placeholder just like your name. Okay, and let's say let me give an ID to this particular input box. Let me say name box. Okay, Control S. So now if I'm gonna run this, so okay, I have something on my screen, so you guys can see that I have a text box. Let's say in the UI, what do you mean by event? Okay, think about like if I'm gonna click over here, that's an event. If I'm gonna moving my mouse, this is an event. If I'm gonna select this text, this is an event. If I'm gonna click over here, that's an event. Let's say if I'll go to any of the website, let's say I'm going to Selenium Express, and let's say if I'm going to the Selenium Express website, and let's say I'm selecting some text on the UI, that's an event. If I'm gonna click on the course, that's an event. If I'm gonna click on a button, that's an event. If I'm gonna click on this close box, that's an event. Okay, basically whatever we are doing in a particular moment, that's an event. I remember back in 2015 when I started working on some UI framework, I asked my friend that, okay, what do you mean by event? Then he said, I think the people who understand Hindi, I mean, you can get this line. He said to me, in a particular moment, jo ghatna hai ghati. Okay, that's an event, and I still remember this. In a particular moment, what happened? Think like you are going somewhere, right? And you are attending an event. That means there is an event happening somewhere. In a particular moment, there is something happening there. That's why we are calling it an event. Just like that, whenever, let's say I'm gonna click over, I'm gonna type here something, and I am clicking on somewhere, that's an event. Okay, I think you are getting it. If I'm selecting my text here, this is an event. So when that event is happening, let's say an user is typing something here and just clicking outside of the box, that's an event is happening, and at that time I want to do something. Okay, so when that event happened, what I want to do. Okay, so we will see that. For an example, right now I'm entering some text and I'm clicking over here. So basically, one second, there is some noise outside. Let it pass by. There is some kind of announcement going on the outside, maybe because of the corona and all or something. Just give me a moment, because I'm recording this, and I don't want this voice to be coming right in the recording. Maybe I can edit that out. Okay, this gone. Okay, are you guys hearing any any background noise from me?
No.
All right. Okay.
It's completely good.
Perfect. Okay. So.
Can I ask you one thing? I know it's too early to ask, but just I thought. So you're explaining event. So when click, if something happened, that we should consider event, or even simply we are clicking on the screen and nothing is happening. It's not impacting anything.
As of now, there is no. So for an example, I'm clicking over here. That's an event. You are correct. I'm selecting this text. That's an event, right? I'm going to show you something right now. Let's say why I'm talking about the. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to check what is today's topic. Basically, I joined.
Okay. Today's topic is about Spring Event. Okay. And the reason why I'm telling you, because I want to let you know about some of the Spring default events and some of the events that Spring published. And so later on the day, I can also show you some implementation, maybe about some logging event, or some Spring security event, or some Spring context event, and things like that. Okay, so first of all, I just want to start the event stuff I just want to let you know what the event in the UI is. I think most of you should be familiar of that. So that's why I'm just starting from the UI example, and that's the only reason. For an example, I've just created a text box here. And for an example, I have a requirement whenever you are typing something just right here and you're clicking somewhere outside of the box, you want whatever you typed here, that should be converted to uppercase. So you want whenever the user is typing something, when he's clicking outside of the box, something to happen. Let's say I click over here, then I want something to happen. And how can I do that? For an example, I'll go over here and I want when someone is gonna enter something in the text box and want to do a click, let's say on click, okay, I can fire an event. On mouse over, I can fire an event. On mouse move, I can fire an event. On change, I can fire an event. Like, whenever the text changed, I want to fire an event. Let's go with on change, okay? I just want to show you a simple thing. Imagine there is a text box and there is some text are getting changed on that. And whenever some text changed happen, I want to fire an event and I want to handle that event in JavaScript. If you don't know even JavaScript, I'm just showing you this example just to make you familiar what event is. Then I'll go to the server side. For an example here, imagine in the on change, I have a function, let's say my function. Okay, and let's say I want to create this my function inside a script. So I'll come over here, I'll just write script and I will say, I'll just create a function called my function. Okay, and this is gonna be a method or function. How do I define functions in JavaScript? I'll just write function here. Okay, so what I want, whenever some changes will be done inside this text box, I want this my function to be get called, and here inside this function I want to get this particular name box, whatever the value that I'm typing. Imagine whatever the value that I'm typing just right here, I want to capture that value and I have to change that value to uppercase. Let's say someone is changing the value here, he's clicking over here, and on change I want to convert this value to the uppercase. So the way we handle that on the JavaScript is, first of all, in this text box there is something happening. So maybe the ID of the text box is name box. I'm going to copy that and I'm going to do document dot, why I am not getting any suggestion, document,
because you haven't included JS.
No, that's not the problem. I think I should get over here. Document, okay, let me type it. Document dot, in the head tag only I have given the script. 1 second. Okay, so document, okay, now I'm getting, okay, there we go. Document dot get element by ID, and I want to get the element, the UI element called name box, which is my text box. I want to get the value that I have inside that, and I want to store this inside a variable, let's say a var, let's say a name. Okay, so what I want, and whatever the name that I got here, I want to change it to uppercase. So the way I'll be doing is name.value, and I want to initialize this name.value to name.value to uppercase. Okay, so right now what I want, if you're gonna go to your page right now, if you're gonna refresh this page, let's say I'm gonna type something in, I'm gonna click over here, see the name, whatever I have typed is changed to uppercase. Let's say I'm writing Abhilash in small case, and I over here and the text changed to the uppercase. So whenever you are writing something just right here, and whenever you are clicking outside of the box, the text change happened and an event is getting fired, and there you go, right? And your text is getting changed. So that's how you can imagine, like this text box, whatever the text box and the text that you are entering just right over here, this is some kind of object, and whenever there is some changes happening to the object, and whenever you are clicking somewhere else, an event is getting fired, and there is a function who is listening to that event, and that function is my function, which is defined just right here. And this my function is doing what? It is just changing the text to the uppercase. So a event is happening, For an example, I'm just typing something over here. Then whenever I click on somewhere, I'm going to do a click over here, then the browser is publishing that event, right? Whenever I click somewhere, the browser detect my movement and publishing that particular event, and there is a listener who is listening to this. This function, you can treat it as a listener, is listening to that event and changing the value to the uppercase. Okay, so this is in UI, and I think that a lot of you can relate to this thing. Maybe there is so much probability that you have done some kind of things just like this before, and just want to bring this one just for your sake, for your understanding. But right now, okay, why do we need events in the server side? Okay, and what is the benefit of server side events? Okay, so let me just give you an example. So I'll just do what okay, let me give you a very simple example, the slides that I have created. So imagine, okay, I'm a fan of this, okay, the Big Bang Theory. Okay, for an example, this is an event. Okay, this event happens. Okay, where this event happens, so this is an event because this is a show comes in a particular time, and imagine there is some event is happening, and that is Big Bang Theory, and there is a guy who published this event, and that's your broadcaster. For an example, in India, most probably the Big Bang Theory, that's the stream in G Cafe, right? So G Cafe is the publisher which is publishing that event, okay, on a particular time, let's say 8:30 to 9:30 in the evening, the Big Bang Theory will come on TV. So the G Cafe is publishing that event, and we are the listeners, right? Because we have subscribed to that event. We want to listen to that event which is happening, and basically we are just right here listening to our publisher, which is G Cafe. Whenever it will publish that event, we will go and listen to those events. Okay, it's pretty simple. So Big Bang Theory is our event. Okay, we want to watch this show, and to watch this show we need a publisher which is going to be publishing this event, and for that we have the G Cafe SD, which is going to be our event publisher, and we are the listeners who are the fan of Big Bang Theory and want to watch that or listen to that. Okay, whenever the publisher is going to publish the event, let's say at 9:30 it is going to be publishing that event. So a lot of people are listening to that event, and as soon as they will be publishing that event, will be starting listening to that particular event. Okay, hopefully it's making sense, and there are so many technical stuffs out there, and I'm gonna come back to all this stuff tomorrow. But let's first try and understand what the heck this event stuff is, and what is the use case of this. Why should I use this? Okay, what the heck is this? And I mean, what is the benefit of using this particular event stuff? Okay, so first of all, let me go to my Eclipse. Okay, here comes your Spring stuff. Okay, this is all to set you off okay, just to create an impression like what is the event, and more about this event will be understanding tomorrow. And the people who are attending this session, okay, make sure you're gonna practice the same thing today. And tomorrow, whenever I'll be doing some more advanced stuff, you'll be able to understand everything. So I'll be just taking a very simple example, the example that we have seen, the Big Bang Theory, which is an event, G Cafe, which is our publisher, and we are the people, let's say Anu, let's say Willie, let's say Akhil, let's say Aditya, let's say Abhilash. We are the listeners, okay, who is listening to that particular event. Okay, I'm going to show you an example. Okay, so first of all, I have created a project, Maven project, just to save some time, and I have a pom.xml. I don't have anything just right here. Even I don't need JUnit, you can just remove this. Maven has automatically created this for me. And we will be doing the same thing in Spring Boot. So we have I think almost all of you who are attending this session, we have Spring Boot covered in a batch. So we'll be doing the same thing in Spring Boot also. But I will be also using this recording for my other batches, and I'll also make sure to make this video freely available everywhere, because this is basically a very simple and very straightforward topic, and which we should be covered in Spring Core. Okay, so that's why I can see the only dependency that I have here is Spring Context. Okay, so the Spring context dependency is just right here, and this Spring context dependency will get you all the Spring core jars that you will be needing. For an example, Spring context, AOP, beans, core, all Spring expression and the other stuff. Okay, I only care about the Spring context and Spring beans jar, okay, because I just want to do some very, very simple thing. Okay, now let's try to understand. Imagine, let me create a new package. Okay, in this package, imagine I have something called publisher. Okay, publisher package. Okay, so inside this publisher, let's say there is a channel called gcafe. Let's say gcafe publisher. Okay, I'm just telling it a publisher because a lot of show comes inside the gcafe publisher. Inside gcafe channel, there are a lot of different show comes in. Okay, and gcafe is basically publishing those shows or streaming those shows, and that's why I'm just writing here publisher. Here is just create an impression for you that okay, I'm treating gcafe as a publisher. Okay, so if I'll be going to this gcafe publisher, imagine we have a method called public void stream Big Bang Theory. Okay, stream or broadcast Big Bang Theory. Okay, and or I can say publish Big Bang Theory, whatever you want to say, that's fine. Imagine it's gonna taking a what we call a episode number, which episode you want to run. Let's say episode. Okay, episode number. Maybe it'll just give you the, you'll just pass in the episode number, and it is gonna say sys out. Okay, starting or gcafe. Okay, streaming or starting BBT stands for Big Bang Theory, and the episode number starting BBT episode, or I'll just put the episode number directly just right here. Okay, a simple method called gcafe publisher got a method called stream Big Bang Theory, and we got a sys out here called starting Big Bang Theory episode number, whatever you passed in, and imagine this is a component. Okay, this is a very simple Spring component. I think you all are good with Spring right now. You understand whatever I have done here. Now imagine I have a config package. I'm gonna create a class, and this is gonna be my config class. So maybe I'm gonna click over here, do a right click, new, and class, and I want to create a package called config, and let's say there is a class called app. Okay, let's say app config. That will be better. Okay, Control S. Now hover over here, rename the thing. Okay, now here I don't want to do anything. I just want to make it a configuration file, and also I want to make it, I want to make sure that I have enabled the component scanning. So component scan, and I want to scan for all the packages. So I'll be just writing here com. All right, there we go. All right, so basically right now our app config is gonna component scan for all the packages, so it's gonna start with com. As simple as that. Okay, perfect. So right now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna close everything. Okay, and I will go to one of my packages. I have a simple class called app created by Maven, and right here what I'm gonna do, I am going to load my container. So I'll say application context, which is just a Spring container, and I'll say context is equal to new class path, or I'm using annotation based stuff. Let's say annotation config application context. I think that's the right one, and I want to register for my app.config class, appconfig.class. Okay, there we go. So right now I have just started my container here, and I'm gonna say context.getBean, and I want to get the bean of gCafePublisher, and that's my component. So I'll be going to gCafePublisher just right here, and this is my component. Let me copy that. This is my component name. By default, you know that if I'll not be mentioning the component name, the class name is gonna be the component name with the first character as small. So I'm gonna make the first character as small, and this is gonna get me a bean called gCafePublisher and dot class. There we go. Let me just maximize this, and that's my bean, and I'm going to do a control1, assign the statement to a local variable, and there you go. I have the gCafePublisher object just right here. Now I can just do bean dot, stream Big Bang Theory. Let's say Big Bang, right now gCafe is streaming the Big Bang Theory with the episode number. Let's say EP stands for episode, and let's say 004. It's just streaming the episode number 004. Okay, so now think about this. If I'm gonna run this, how I'm gonna run this, can I do a right click, run as Java application? Okay, there you go. Nothing fancy here. gCafe starting Big Bang Theory episode number 1 or episode number 4. You understand that. Right now, gCafe, which a publisher is publishing, it has a method and is basically streaming the Big Bang Theory. Right now, let's say we have a lot of people here. Let's say Abhilash is a fan of Big Bang Theory, and he's a listener or he's a subscriber of the Big Bang Theory. So what he's gonna do, let's say I will go to one of the packages, and I'll create a class, okay, and that will be, let's say, Abhilash, okay, subscriber, or I can say Abhilash listener. Okay, let's say Abhilash listener, and this is gonna be I'll be putting everything inside a package called listener. Okay, I'll do a finish. Let's say Abhilash is a listener who is going to listen to the event that gCafe is publishing, right? For example, right now I have subscribed to gCafe, and I have a method called public void watch BBT or Big Bang Theory, watch Big Bang, okay, or watch show or watch Big Bang, whatever you call that. Okay, imagine right now I have a method here called sysout, and let's say I'm gonna say watch Big Bang. Let's say it is also taking an episode number, string EP number, and let's say I have a simple println just right here. Let's say watching BBT plus episode number. Okay, let's say right now Abhilash is watching the episode number watching BBT episode number, and let's say another sysout. Let's say Abhilash started watching, okay, BBT, okay, Big Bang Theory, okay, and he's watching let's say playing BBT. Okay, who is playing? Abhilash is playing. So let me give Abhilash playing BBT, and Abhilash started watching BBT. Okay, perfect. So now imagine this is one of our listener or one of our subscriber who has subscribed to the gCafe just to watch the Big Bang Theory. Okay, so right now the Big Bang Theory, whenever it is gonna be started streaming, it is gonna notify Abhilash that, hey, the Big Bang Theory has been started, so that Abhilash can start watching that particular episode. Okay, and if you want to do that, for an example, right now tell me the gCafe, okay, just right here, how it is going to notify or how it is going to call this watch Big Bang method. Okay, how it is going to notify Abhilash listener that, hey, we have started streaming it, you may start watching it just right now. Can anybody know how basically I can implement that? Imagine this is a simple component called publisher, gCafePublisher. I want to call this particular method called watch Big Bang just right here. How I'll be doing it? Anyone?
Can auto-aware that.
Perfect. That's fine. We have to auto-aware. First of all, to auto-aware this component, I have to make this a component. I will be letting Spring to manage this particular object, and then I'll come to the gCafe. I'll say, let's say Abhilash listener or whatever, Abhilash listener, and there is a typo there. Okay, that's fine. I think you guys won't judge me. And I'll say, let's say Abhi, let's say subscriber or listener. Let me just copy this, paste it over here, make it a small case, and there you go, Abhilash listener. And I can simply make it auto-var, and I can make it a private variable, and I can just do right now I can just notify Abhilash, just like Abhilash listener dot watch Big Bang, and I can also pass in the episode number that we are having over here to here. There you go. Right now, if I'm gonna go ahead to my main application, which is app.java, if I'm gonna run this, nothing fancy here, Abhilash will start watching that particular thing. So G Cafe starting Big Bang episode 004, Abhilash started watching BBT and playing BBT EP 004. Okay, because that's the episode the G Cafe started streaming. Okay, imagine I have one more subscriber, okay, or one more listener. I'm copying this. Let's say my next listener is Willie. Okay, let's say Willie listener. Okay, now let's say he is also a fan of BBT, and right now let's say watching Big Bang. Let's say right now this Willie listener is started watching BBT, and he started playing BBT episode number something. Okay, so right now what I have to do, let's say I have one more listener right now. Willie, you can only answer. Let's say I have one more listener here right now. Again, I want to notify this listener to watch Big Bang whenever this publisher, whenever this G Cafe publisher is publishing this or streaming this Big Bang Theory. So what I have to do here,
What did you want me to do?
So imagine right now we have this watch Big Bang method, and this method is inside the Willie listener. Okay, and this is a component, so it's registered with your Spring application context. Right now I want, let's say you are also a subscriber to Big Bang. I am also a subscriber to Big Bang. Okay, so when my publisher, which is G Cafe publisher, is publishing Big Bang event or streaming the Big Bang event, I want you to notify it, or G Cafe is want to notify you. So the way he has notified me, the same way it can notify you as well, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Making sense what I'm trying to say, Willie? Or is
Not really.
Okay, there is a design pattern called observer design pattern. I don't want to get into that, but let me just code this and then I'll ask you again. Let's say I want to notify Willie listener, and what I'll do, I'll create an object just right here. Willie listener. Let's say copy this, paste it over here, and make it a private variable. And let me make it Willie listener, make it auto-var, and now I'm gonna do a Control-Shift-O to import it, copy this and paste it over here, dot watch Big Bang, and pass in the episode number that I'm getting from here to here. Control-V, Control-S, run this application, go to the app.java. Here I'm creating a bean of G publisher. And right now, with this bean, I'm just calling this stream Big Bang Theory. In the stream Big Bang Theory, inside my G Cafe publisher, it is basically starting the BBT. I just have a log. Imagine like start the episode, and it's notified the user Abhilash, and it's notified the user Willie to watch the Big Bang Theory. Right now, if I'm gonna go to the application.java, and if I'm gonna make it run, so you can see in my console, I'll be having Abhilash user started watching BBT and playing the episode 004, and Willie user started watching BBT and playing the episode 004. Is that making sense right now, what I have done here so far?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. What about you guys? As of now, we guys are on the same page, what I have done here and what I'm trying to do. You guys are okay with this? What I have done here, coding wise, you are fine. I'm gonna come back. Don't think about the event, publisher, subscriber, listener, and all these things. Whatever the code that I have done, is that making sense? Is simple Spring Core coding?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
What about other? I just want to hear it from everyone.
Yes, sir.
All right. Perfect. Perfect. So, okay. Right now, another time I'll be asking you one more thing. Okay. Imagine right now, Anu is one more, let's say tomorrow Anu has taken the subscription or Yash has taken the subscription. Okay. So what you will be doing, you will be creating one more class right here, right? Let's say Aditya Listener. Okay, and inside the Aditya Listener, let's say he has also subscribed to this. Then again, you have to make it a component. Let's say I'm going to change this name right here to Aditya started watching BBT and Aditya started playing BBT, episode number whatever. Then again, this is a listener who is going to listen to that particular event, and so that I have to go to that publisher and I have to again hard code it, isn't it? Otherwise, how I'll be notifying that particular guy who has taken the subscription? So I will be just writing here Aditya Listener, and let me copy this and paste it just right here, and we'll make it auto-where. Okay, and I'm gonna say Aditya Listener. Okay, and I'm gonna call that method Aditya Listener dot watch Big Bang, and I'll pass in the episode number. Now you just think about the problem. Just try to notice the problem. What is the problem which is happening here? Okay, let's say I'm gonna put episode number here, and if I'm gonna run my application, then obviously it's gonna be started running, and it is gonna notify all of the listener like Avilash, Willie, and Aditya. All are going to get a notification, and they started watching the episode. Let's say Aditya is watching, Willie is watching, Avilash is watching. Making sense so far? And just try to understand the problem here. Every time we are adding a new listener, just like Avilash, Aditya, Willie, okay, all these listeners, I have to go to my publisher, and my publisher is right now knowing about my listeners. Okay, and that's how when this particular method is getting started, I'm just running something, and inside this method it is tried calling my listener method. Okay, for an example, this is a listener that I have just created a listener called Avilash Listener. I'm just calling it as a listener. You don't get confused with the name. The name is only listener. Think about Avilash is a subscriber, and right now he is watching Big Bang, and there are some logs just right here. So this is the method called watch Big Bang. This method is getting called from the publisher just right here, because you have subscribed, or you are a fan of Big Bang and you have subscribed to GCafe to watch Big Bang. That's why when GCafe started streaming Big Bang Theory, it is calling the watch Big Bang method of Avilash Listener, watch Big Bang method of the Willie Listener, and watch Big Bang of the Aditya Listener. Okay, but the problem here is that there can be so many listeners, isn't it? Let's say there are thousands of listeners who has taken the subscription of GCafe just to watch the Big Bang Theory. And if you as a publisher, let's say GCafe as a publisher is started doing things like this, it will be so much tight coupling, and every time a new listener is going to be added, we have to put that entry just right here. We have to make it auto-where, and we have to start calling that particular method, isn't it? And that's how there is a design pattern called observer design pattern. Okay, and that has been implemented with the Spring framework as well. And I don't want to get into the design pattern, the observer design pattern. If you know about this, that's a different thing, but I don't want to get into that. I will show you a very simple thing. Okay, right now, to get rid of this particular problem, okay, the publisher is directly having the dependency of the listeners, okay, like the subscribers, Avilash, Willie, and Aditya, and he is notifying all the subscribers by itself. And that's what I don't want to do just right here. That's why I have removed all the tight coupling that I have done previously. I will do a Control-Shift-O to get rid of this particular problem. Right now, to solve this particular problem, because there can be many listeners, okay, so can I do something so all these listeners that we have here, like Aditya, like Willie, like Avilash, right, all these listeners will keep listening for an event. Okay, the GCafe publisher will say, hey, there is an event happening called Big Bang Theory. Whenever this particular method will be called, it is gonna publish an event, and all these listeners, Willie, Avilash, Aditya, will keep listening to that event that GCafe is publishing, and all will be started watching automatically. And how can I implement that? For an example, I'll just show you a very simple thing right now. So to create an event in Spring Framework, what you have to do, you have to create a class. Let me create a class over here. Let me put everything inside a package called event or events. Let's say I want to create an event called the Big Bang Theory event. Big Bang Theory event. Okay, let's say I have an event here called Big Bang Theory. Right now, what I'm gonna do a finish. It's gonna be a simple Pojo, and if I want to make it an event, I have to extend to a class called ApplicationEvent. There we go, ApplicationEvent. Okay, so ApplicationEvent is a class. If you want to create an event in Spring Framework, then you have to extend to this particular abstract class. And in latest version of Spring, even you don't need to extend to this particular class, but I want to come from the very beginning so that any kind of code that you will be seeing in future, it will make sense to you. Okay, let's say application event, there is something just right here. And we have to just extend to this particular class, which is an abstract class. So I'll be closing this. I'll be going to my Big Bang Theory event because I'll be creating an event right now called Big Bang Theory, and this extends to application event. And imagine there is a variable here called private int. What do we call that? Let's say private string episode number. Okay, and I'll have the getter and setter for this. Create getter and setter. Basically, I don't need the setter because let's initialize this episode number with a constructor. So I'll hover over here. First of all, I'll add the constructor. Okay, there is a constructor. Inside the application event, there is one constructor called application event, which takes a source. Right now, I'll be telling you what is the meaning of the source and why do we need that. But there is something called source, and that's what it takes as a parameter, which is an object type. And basically, the logic, is basically called the super source method, and it's going to set that particular source object. I really don't need to care about that right now. I have just click over here, overridden this particular constructor, and that's it. So I won't be doing anything just right here. Okay, so right now I will be creating one more constructor here to initialize this particular episode number. Okay, so imagine I have this variable and I want one more constructor. So I'll do right click, source, generate constructor using field, and I'll be clicking over here to generate, and it's going to create me one more constructor which takes source as a parameter, which is coming from the super class, and the string episode number. Just care about this right now. I'll be coming back to this object source, what it does. So right now this episode number that I have, to this episode number, whatever episode number I'll be passing, it is going to initialize that episode number. This episode number value it will be initializing. So I'll be setting the episode number value by using this particular constructor, and that's it. Okay, I have a variable and I have a constructor which takes two parameter, which is called object source, and this source will be called, it will be calling the superclass constructor. It will be clicking over here. It will be going to the superclass constructor called ApplicationEvent, and there it will take the source and it will again call the superclass constructor. This is the framework stuff, and we'll be coming back to that later. And then one more thing is that we have one variable here called episode number. That episode number will be passing and we'll be initializing to this episode number. That's it. Right now what I want, I'll be closing this. And I have already created my application event or an event in Spring. So this is how we create event in Spring. We just need to extend to a class called application event, and that's it. Your class is automatically eligible for eventing. Let me close that. Okay, now I'll go to the publisher, and what I want right now this publisher to do, whenever someone is going to call this method. Right now, let's say in the app.java, we are creating the gcafe publisher bean, and we are creating that instance, and right now we are calling this stream Big Bang Theory method. If I do control click over here, it is coming to gcafe, right? We are inside this method called stream Big Bang Theory. Right now, whenever this method will be called, I want this particular method should publish an event. Okay, how I'll be doing it? I'll be just writing a reference here called ApplicationEventPublisher, and I'll say ApplicationEventPublisher, and there you go, and I'll make it auto-where. This object will be by default will be given by Spring. Okay, so there is a new class right now that we have seen, sorry, an interface that we have seen called ApplicationEventPublisher, and Spring will inject this particular object to here. Right now, what I want, when someone is going to call this stream Big Bang Theory method, what I'll be doing ApplicationEventPublisher dot publish. Okay, publish event, and you can see that I have a particular constructor which take a application event as an argument, right? So if you remember the event that we have just created, where is that? Control Shift R star event, Big Bang Theory event. This is a type of application event, right? So right now this is an event, right? So what I want, whenever gcafe or gcafe publisher want to notify all the people who are going to subscribe to this particular Big Bang Theory episode, all those people will be notified. Okay, so the publisher is going to do what? It is going to publish an event, and it's going to say that, hey, we have published an event right now, so if anyone wants to listen to this event, you guys can listen to this. Okay, that's a different thing. First of all, let's publish the event. What is our event? Our event name is new, what is that? The Big Bang Theory event. The Big Bang Theory event, which takes two parameters. The first parameter, source, I told you that I'll be come back to this. For now, I'll be just passing in the current object, which is this, and the episode number. Whatever the episode number we'll be getting from here, we'll be just giving it to here. Then this constructor will take this two parameter. The source will be set to here. The current object we are passing over here called this, and episode number we are giving it 4 or 5 or something that will be initialized to this episode number. Pretty simple. So that's it. So right now that's my code inside my publisher. Here I am doing what? I'm publishing an event, and that event is my Big Bang Theory event, which is my application event that I have just created. Okay, so right now you will see an magic, right? So I have not done anything. The gcafe publisher right now publishing an event of Big Bang Theory. Right now, let's say this Willie listener, he has subscribed gcafe to watch Big Bang Theory. So he will do what? He will implement an interface called ApplicationListener. It is going to listen to an event, and you can see the ApplicationListener is the type is extends to event. So any class or any class which extends to application event, basically we can put that particular reference here. It's generic type, right? So what I'll do here, I'll come back to here and I'll just write here inside the application event. So what is the event this Willie listener wants to listen to? It wants to listen to an event called the Big Bang Theory event. Okay, there we go. So right now this particular interface has a method called, if I'll be implementing this right here, okay, that method name is called onApplicationEvent, which is gonna get you the event. The event, like the Big Bang Theory event is right now our event that this guy wants to listen to. So this object will come over here, and this is an event. The event is the variable. Okay, so now what I'll be doing, automatically whenever an event will be fired, right now you can imagine like this gcafe publisher, whenever it is going to publish the event, the listener, which is Willie, who is a subscriber to the Big Bang Theory, this particular listener will be automatically start listening to that event, that hey, gcafe has published that event. So right now this method will be executed, and if this method will be executed, I can basically do what? I can just call this method just right here. Okay, watch Big Bang, and right now here this watch Big Bang takes a episode number. So from this event, so this is our Big Bang Theory event, right? Here we'll get the Big Bang Theory object. That particular event object will do event dot get episode number, and here the complete access to that particular object the event object will have. And from that, I'm just getting the episode number, right? Control S to that. Right now, we have one more listener called Aditya listener. And here also, I'll be doing the same thing. Let's say he is also subscribed to Big Bang Theory. So let's say I'll say implements, let's say application listener. The Aditya also going to listen to the Big Bang Theory event. So the Big Bang Theory event, I have to override the method unimplemented method. Here I'll get the event called Big Bang Theory event. Whenever that event will be published by the publisher, that event I can hear it just right now, and I will be doing here, let's say I'll be calling this method only. So this method will be automatically executed, and inside this method I want to call the watch Big Bang method, and I'll be passing in the episode number. This episode number I'll be getting from here. So I'll be writing event, and I will be just writing here, dot get episode number. So right now, similarly, I think you can understand this, right? Whenever this GCafe publisher is publishing an event, it is creating a new event, and this event is the Big Bang Theory event, and here it is passing in the source, which is our current object, and also it is passing in the episode number, and this episode number we are getting it from here. So whenever, imagine in the app.java, someone the GCafe publisher is publishing the event right now, and here it is giving the episode number as 004. Now the stream Big Bang Theory method will be called. It will be going over here. It will get the episode number right here, and with this episode number I'll be passing to the event. So right now the Big Bang Theory event will be initialized, and this event will be occurred. And once this event will be occurred, the episode number right now, whatever we passed there, is gonna be EP004 and 004, and this object right now we'll be getting with all our listener. Our listener will be notified that the event has already been occurred or published by the publisher. Now the Willy listener can access that event object just right here. That event object has already been initialized, and I'm just getting the episode number from that event. Same thing inside the Aditya listener. It is also implementing the application listener, which is called the Big Bang Theory event, and right now that object I'm getting over here, this object has already been initialized, and I am just getting the episode number right here. Okay, and the same thing I'll be just doing. Let's say Abhilash listener, let's say I'm also a fan of Big Bang Theory, so I'm going to do implements, and what is that? It is going to be a listener or subscriber, so I'm going to say application listener, and also it is going to listen to the Big Bang Theory event. And if it is the case, then the listener need to be implement an unimplemented method, and here that object will become, once the event has been triggered, that event object I'll have access to here. And right now I want to call this watch Big Bang method, Control B. Okay, and this watch Big Bang method needs an episode number as an argument, so that episode number I can get from the event get episode number. Okay, why I'm able to get the episode number from this event, from this the Big Bang Theory event? Because this the Big Bang Theory event has already been triggered here. The object we have already created here, and we have created this object with this variables, and the episode number we already got, because in the app.java, whenever we are streaming the Big Bang Theory, we are passing this episode number, and with this episode number only the object is getting created of the Big Bang Theory event. And once this event has been published, the listeners are right now keep listening to that particular event. The Big Bang Theory event Willy listener is listening to, Aditya listener is listening to the Big Bang Theory event, the Abhilash listener is also listening to the Big Bang Theory event. Okay, right now if you see something, if I'll go to the GCafe publisher, see I don't have anything right here, and I will be doing right now what I'll be going to app.java, I'll do a right click, run as, and Java application, and you will be seeing something is happening. So Abhilash has started watching BBT episode number 4. Willy has started watching BBT episode number 4. What about Aditya? Because Aditya is right now not saved. This particular event has, I have not saved this particular file. Let me go to app.java. Let me run this particular application again, and there you go. All your subscribers, Willy, Aditya, Abhilash, all are started listening to the event that the GCafe publisher is right now publishing. Right now, see, it has a simple method called stream Big Bang Theory. It is doing something. Let's say I have a simple log here called starting Big Bang Theory, and right now it is publishing an event. It is not doing anything else. It is just publishing the Big Bang Theory event. Right now, its job is done. The publisher does not need to know who has subscribed to him. I do not know how many people have subscribed to me, right? A newspaper agency doesn't know how much people have subscribed to the newspaper. Getting it? So right now, as a publisher, we are not making any tight coupling the way we used to do previously. We used to put all our listener subjects just right now. So right now, all all are, my publisher is just publishing the event and the listeners are just listening to the event which is getting triggered. Okay, this is what I want to say. So far, how much clarity you have? 20%, 30%, 40%?
Avinash,
Yeah.
I have some doubt on that GCafe publisher. Like this, I'm not getting what value this is containing.
Yeah, this will contain a value of application context. Right now, okay, with that, Akhil, I will be coming back to that. But if you have a curiosity in the app.java, here we have the application context object. This is containing annotation config application context, right? This is the source. So I'll be coming back to that. Don't worry about it. But this will contain the application context object just right here. Okay. But we will be just removing. Yeah, I'll be telling you. Because I have not discussed this yet. I'll be coming back to this, and also we'll be removing this. We don't need this. In latest version of Spring, if you want to, I just want to show you one thing. In the latest version of Spring, if you want to make an event, if you want to make something an event, for an example, the Big Bang Theory, if you want to convert this an event, I'll make it even more simpler for you. I mean, if you don't want to make it application event, okay? If you don't want to extend to this, if you are extending to this, that's where we're getting the source, right? I'll be removing this extents. It'll be even more simpler right now. So I'll be removing this constructor. I'll have, let's say, one variable. Okay, I don't need this guy. Now it looks good. This looks easy. Control-Shift-O. Now see, simple Pojo only we have. We have an episode number here. Okay, and we have a constructor, okay, which initialize this episode number, and we have a get episode number which is going to return the value of this episode number. Okay, simple Pojo. And now we can also fix this GCafe publisher. What problem we have here? Okay, right now the problem here is that the Big Bang Theory event, right now we don't have this parameter. We are just simply passing the episode number. This is also fixed. The next thing is the listeners are giving me problem. Let's go to the listeners. Okay, right now this ApplicationListener, okay, this is implementing the application context listener, and obviously I told you the application context listener, if you see over here, this extends, we have to pass in a type, and this type should be extends to application context event. And right now, if you see here, the Big Bang Theory is not extends to application context event, and that's what, application event, and that's why this listener is right now complaining. I can simply remove this. Okay, and the way right now right now if I have removed this, right now this is no longer a listener, right? If I want to make it a listener, I'll be doing what? I'll be just remove this override, and I will use the annotation called EventListner. That's it. Right now you can make the method name as anything that you want. Whatever name you want to give, you can give it just right here. Now the thing is that this method will listen to the event called the Big Bang Theory event. Okay, now Control-Shift-O, this will look even more simpler to you. We'll come back to this again. Willy Listener, right now, let me go to Willy Listener. It doesn't need to implement this application listener. It will be more simple even. If you want to make it a listener, just put it at EventListner. There we go. And also we have one more listener called ApplicationListener. No need to implement this application listener if you don't want to. Okay, so that you can make this thing even more simplified by writing EventListner. Okay, same work this is also going to do as the interface. I'll do Control-Shift-O to format this. Now the code is even more simpler. Anyhow, I'll be talking about that source because that is important. What do you mean by that? But right now, for now, you just think like the GCafe. Let's come from app.java again. Okay, we have an app. We are creating our application context. Okay, we are getting the bean of GCafe publisher. Okay, and the GCafe publisher is right now streaming Big Bang Theory episode number 4 right now. We are going to stream Big Bang Theory. It's a simple method. Okay, now it is doing something. Imagine it's doing some business logic just right here. Now we are just publishing the event. We're just saying ApplicationEventPublisher, which is the interface that we need to publish an event in Spring. Okay, right now this event publisher is publishing an event called the Big Bang Theory event, and is passing in the episode number that we are sending from from after Java. Just this episode number we're just getting right here. Now this Big Bang Theory event has been initialized to episode number 004. Right now this GCafe publisher has published an event, and right now all the listeners like ApplicationListener who is listening to that event, right now this particular method will be triggered, and here whatever the work that you want to do, this work you can keep doing just right here. Okay, for example, the watch Big Bang, this method is going to be get triggered here. Okay, hopefully it's making sense. The same thing if we'll go to the Willy listener, he is also listening to the event. You can let's say listen to event. Okay, I mean you can just give any name to this particular method, but you will get that event object. I mean whatever the event object you are expecting, give that event object just right over here. You will get that event object right here, so that whenever watch Big Bang is going to be called, if you want to extract some value from this event, just like the watch Big Bang, this particular method needs an episode number, you can pass in the episode number just right here. Okay, and do a Control-Shift-O to remove unnecessary imports. And Aditya listener also, you know, this method name can be anything. Let's say listen to event. Okay, something. Okay, right now, okay, is it looking good? The code simple, plain.
Yes,
okay.
Yes,
right now,
it's working.
okay. Now let me go to after Java. Let me do right click, run as Java application. Now you see what happened. Okay, Willy, Aditya, and Avilas, all these people are listening to the event. Let's say tomorrow one more listener or one more subscriber that I have. Right now this GCafe publisher doesn't know who that particular subscriber is. It is just going to publish the event, and then let's say one more subscriber is there. Let's say I'm gonna copy this Aditya.
So what are the input parameters for the line number 19 for the publish event method? What are the
that's an event. That's the event that you want to fire here. Our event
would be the object.
that will be the event object. Yes. And right now, for an example, right now I want to make it ApplicationListener, and I'll make it ApplicationListener. Okay, I'll go to ApplicationListener and I'll go over here, and right now everything will be remain same, and I don't have to do anything. ApplicationListener, I'll just change this name to Apple, so that Control C, Control V, Control V. There we go. Okay, one more new subscriber has been added. So one more new listener or one more new subscriber is there, who is also a fan of Big Bang. So there you go. The same method, just created one listener, added that with EventListner. There you go. I'll get the event and he'll watch the same episode. Let me go to the GCafe publisher. Okay, it is just going to publish the event. It really doesn't know how many subscribers it does have. So right now if I'll go to app.java and if I'm going to run this, the things will run fine. Okay, now you see Willy is watching, Akhil is watching episode 4, Aditya is watching, Avilash is watching the episode. So how much comfortable you are with this eventing stuff so far? I'll just take 20 minutes more. I'm expecting an answer.
Looks good.
It's okay.
Good.
So
Can I see
by
the-
default, listener called all the classes alphabetically, right?
Yeah, the ordering you were saying. Okay.
Yeah.
The ordering, I'll come back to that. Yes, we are just in very initial stage. Even I am not assuming that you guys understand all the things that I'm telling. You know, I'll be giving you a lot of different things after this session as well. Tomorrow, day after tomorrow, we'll be talking about this. If you guys want to join from any different batch, you can join the same call, and we'll be talking about eventing only. Okay, Aditya, you are good. Willy, there?
Yeah, I'm good. Can I see your event class one more time?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So, Big Bang Theory event. That's a simple Pojo. Nothing more right there. I haven't even extends to the application event. Okay, that's the old way of doing it. In the newer Spring version, just a Spring Pojo can do the eventing work for you.
Okay, I see.
Okay. Okay. We'll just do one more thing. For an example, this GCafe publisher has one more show. Okay. For an example, public void stream. Tell me one more show. I love Comedy Circus. Comedy Circus. Okay. Let's say there is one more show it has. Okay. The GCafe publisher has one more show, and in this show, let's say I have a sysout just right here. Copy this, paste it over here. Okay, and give it a value here. I'm gonna say the value as, let's say, string episode number. Okay, and I'm gonna pass in this episode number right here as well. Okay, so right now, there you go. I have one more method. So how can I call this particular bean? Very simple. I'll go to app.java and I'm gonna do bean dot, what is that? Stream comedy circus, and I'm gonna pass in an episode number called EP and 007. Let's say the episode number which is currently streaming per comedy circus is 007. If you're gonna run this application, I think it is also going to fire gcafe starting bbt. Okay, sorry. So inside the comedy circus, let's say starting comedy circus. Okay, and episode something, right? Now you go to your application, run this. Now you see that. Okay, gcafe starting comedy circus episode 007. Right now, let's say whenever there are some people who have subscribed to the comedy circus event, okay, they want to know when the comedy circus is getting started. They all want to watch comedy circus. All right, so if that's the thing that I want to do, I will be doing what? I won't be hard coding anything. I will be just publishing an event just right here. For an example, I'll go to my event class, event package. Where is that? Event. I'm going to create a new event here called, what is that? Comedy circus event. I'll do a finish. It will be a simple pojo, and I'll just write private string, let's say episode number. Okay, I'll just create a getter and setter for this. Control S, create getter and setter. Okay, and I will be also creating a constructor. Right click, source. Where is that? Constructor stuff. Constructor using field. I'll do generate. There we go. Okay, that's it. I have an event right now. Okay, so now this simple pojo, I will be doing what? I'll be going to my gcafe publisher, and whenever this method will be called, I also want to publish an event. So I'll be just doing how I will be publishing an event by using this application event publisher. Copy that, paste it over here. Sorry, where did I go? Paste it right here, and you'll just do dot publish event. Okay, and here we'll be able to publish an event, and you can see right now, if I'm going to do a control space, right now it takes two parameter, two constructor we have. One takes the application event. Right now, obviously our event classes are not extending to application event, so we will be using this constructor, right, which takes a simple object. Okay, and right now you know that every classes are the parent of the object class. So right now this event that I'll be firing, the new comedy circus event. Okay, this event that I'll be firing right now is obviously can be stored inside the object. I can write object obj equal to new comedy circus event, isn't it? Every class is extends to the object class, and they can store that particular object. And obviously whatever the episode number I'm getting, I'll be just giving this right here. And there we go. I'm done with publishing the event. Right now, as a publisher, my job is done. Now the people who will be listening to the comedy circus event, let's say there are few people who have subscribed to comedy circus. Let me go to one, let me just copy paste one class of ApplicationListener, copy and paste, and change it to, let's say, Justin, what I'll be giving the name, one second, ApplicationListener, Control C. Did I copy this class only? I think so. Let me just change the name to Justin listener, and there we go. And this listener, imagine this listener that we have created. Let's say right now here we'll change the method name. Let's say watch Big Bang. Let's say watch comedy circus. Okay, and let's say right now Justin, copy that, has started watching comedy circus. So I'm going to copy this name, comedy circus, copy, and Justin has started watching Comedy Circus and Justin is playing Comedy Circus, episode number whatever passed to this, and right here the event listener will be changed right now. Now which event we want to listen to? Now this listener want to listen to the event which happens when the Comedy Circus event get triggered by the GCafe publisher. And now the GCafe publisher is publishing this event. Now he want to listen to this event. He doesn't want to listen to this event. He's a fan of this Comedy Circus. Now I'll be copying to this one. I'll be going to Justin Listener, and here I'll be listening to the Comedy Circus event. I'll do a Control-Shift-O to have the import, and right now this method will be a listener. The method name can be anything. You can just say listen to event, whatever you want to say. So that's fine. And now here what I want to do, I want to just call this particular method. Okay, and there we go. You will get the data from this event, because when this will be initialized, the data will be there. You'll just get the episode number, and there you go. Okay, now you can go to your app.java, do a Control-S, and run this application. Okay, and there you go. Now GCafe is also starting the Comedy Circus. Right now only one guy is listening to that event, and that guy keep listening. If you have more events, okay, you can create more classes or more listener classes for Comedy Circus, and they will be listening to the Comedy Circus event. You just need to make sure that this event listener, you have to annotate with this. You have to create a class. You have to make it a component, because this need to be a Spring component, and the listener need to be registered with your application context. And then you have to create a method. The method name could be anything. You have to annotate that with the event listener. Then whatever the event you want to listen to, put the class name just right here, and you can also get the data from this event, whatever the event specific data you want to capture. In this case, inside this Comedy Circus event, we have an episode number, and this data I want to capture. So if I'll be going back, I'm capturing the data from this event variable right here. Making sense?
Yes.
Cool. What about others?
Yes, Abhilash.
Perfect. I mean, you are okay, Akhil?
Yes, Abhilash.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm happy then. So right now this is all about eventing, right? This is something, very, very simple thing I have done. I've just created multiple events, and we are just listening to that. And tomorrow we'll be looking at some default events that Spring has. And also once you guys are feeling a little more comfortable with this eventing stuff, I'll be going to, I'll be going to the I'll be letting you know how you can implement two-factor authentication, how you can implement account locking in your Spring security. A lot of things you can do, right? You can just keep listening to that event when that exception is occurring, when the transaction is getting failure. Okay, for an example, think like a scenario I have written over here. So I'm here. Imagine, whenever someone is ordering a new course. Okay, at the same time he's ordering the new course, a message or an email should come to me, and I should be notify the instructor whenever a new course is getting ordered from the website. The instructor should be notified. Okay, as soon as the money is getting credited, the user should be notified with an email and an SMS, right? When someone subscribes to your channel, send them an welcome email. Let's say someone is subscribing. As soon as the subscription happen, the listener should send the email to the subscriber. There should be another listener who should be sending an SMS to the subscriber. Okay, so that can be many listeners. Imagine like whenever a transaction failure happened, whenever you're doing some bank transaction and some transaction failure happened, an email should be automatically triggered, and that email should be a listener who should be keep listening to the transaction failure to happen. And once that happen, it will be triggered an email to you. Okay, so that kind of thing tomorrow we'll be doing, and tomorrow we'll be taking it forward. Okay, and I'll be telling you some more interesting thing, and then I'll be telling you the exact reason why I'm telling you about this eventing stuff right now, because I want you guys to implement those complex Spring security stuff, and this is the prerequisite. And also, if you know about the observer design pattern, this will be very, very simple for you, but I don't want to get into that right now. Okay, cool. So if you guys are okay,
Abhilash,
yeah.
Can you go back to the code once and show the config class?
Hey, config class, nothing is there, okay? I just have a couple of lines of code.
No, not this config. I I mean, from where you were initializing that application.
From the context one, app.java.
Yeah. So Avinash, in this line number 18, like I remember, like it was very in the beginning we used to see the Spring, like we are annotating with
now I know you got matured and Spring Boot and all Kafka.
Yeah, so I was getting confused in that part only. Like,
nothing. I'm just loading it. I'm just loading it, Akhil. I'm just loading it.
Okay.
Right. I know we have not been used all these things for a long time, and we are learning some advanced stuff right now. But just wanted to make it simple so that everyone can understand. It's not Spring Boot specific. The events are Spring events, right? Why should I use Spring Boot here? Maybe we can implement it in a Spring MVC application when we can implement it in any kind of application, right? It's a Spring concept only. So we just want to do that. I'm just getting the configuration from the app.config. So app.config will scan for this particular package, and all the packages it will be scanned, like all the packages we started from com, all the packages will be scanned, and if those, let's say in the listener, it will be scanned this particular package, it has a component, it is gonna initialize this particular class, and it's gonna create an object of Avilash listener, and will put this particular object inside the application context. So all the classes which is having the component or any kind of component, for now just think like component annotation, those objects will be created and will be maintained inside the application context. And I'm starting my container just right here, and I'm telling my container that, hey, go ahead and look for this config file, do a component scan, and get those Spring Bean initialized inside the container itself. And obviously it's a configuration file, and I'm making it at configuration just right here.
Okay, got it.
Okay, what about others? Karthik, you're good? No questions so far? Karthik there? Ravi?
Abhilash, I have a small question.
Yeah, fine, Abhilash.
Okay.
If we complete that YouTube course of Spring Security of yours, you told, that is sufficient, right, for this?
That is sufficient. I'm posting the paid videos only, your videos only, from evening batch videos, Abhishek. Okay, that is sufficient. You just keep watching that sessions, Abhishek, from the number 1. I'll be posting some more videos, and in a point I'll be stop posting. Okay, because all the advanced topic that we'll be using on microservices and Spring Boot, I haven't really covered it on YouTube, so that won't be going to YouTube right now. But all the basics, whatever I've given, that is pretty much enough for now. Okay, only few topics are remaining, and those things will be covered here. Okay, don't worry about it. Okay. So I'll be posting another 7-hour videos pretty soon, and that will cover the Spring Security internals. Okay, so you keep watching from the number 1. Okay, and before I end this session, I have a simple idea. If I'm gonna copy this particular bean in my application context, and let's say I will be pass this bean again, and I will be getting the gcafe publisher again from the context, and I'm going to change to bean1, and let's say bean1, and now let's say I want to stream the episode 5 and I want to stream the episode 8, then what will happen? Then again it is going to trigger your events. So if I'm going to run this application, you can see in your console, okay, see right now gcafe starting the BBT episode 4. Then it's right now the gcafe has been started, the episode 4 right now. Here we are making a call to stream Big Bang Theory, and here we have this log gcafe starting BBT episode number something, and that has been started right now. And you can see all the listeners, Avilash, Aditya, Akhil, Willie, all these people are right now listening to that particular event. And again, right now we are making another call here in the app.java. We are making another call here called stream comedy circus, and right now this method is getting called, and gcafe starting comedy circus episode number something, and then is publishing the event. Right now you can see the first log in the console, starting the comedy circus episode number 007, and there we go, Justin is started listening to that. Okay, so only one listener is there. And again we are creating another bean, and somewhere in the app we are creating another bean right here, and then we are streaming Big Bang Theory episode 005. Okay, and then again the same thing will happen, starting episode 005 in gcafe, then all the listener, Vilas, Aditya, Akhil, and Willie, they are started listening to the event. And also then I have again called the comedy circus right there. Okay, and again all these events get triggered. Okay, and it's basically started watching. I mean, Justin has started watching the comedy circus. So far so good. I mean, you guys understand everything that we have discussed so far?
Yes.
Okay. One last thing. Okay, I will be wrapping the session right now only. One last thing. Remember the events and the listeners. If you guys think just right here, the publisher, event, all these things, these are synchronous in nature. The Spring events by default are synchronous in nature. So the problem will happen. You know what? If imagine I'll just go for a listener, let's say Abhilash listener. Okay, let's say right now this listener event will be occur because we have this @EventListner annotation. And right now imagine if I'm gonna do something weird here, let's say thread.sleep. Okay, and if I want to make my application sleep for, let's say, 3000 millisecond, and if I will do a sorry, let me just handle it with a try and catch. Okay, now you'll see something funny here. Now you'll see that whenever I'm gonna run my application, right? So see, right now now my execution stopped. Now maybe I can just do something here. Before I do this thing, I just do start. Let's say the Big Bang Theory event. Okay, let's say Abhilash listener started listening. Okay, listener listening start. Okay, and you can just paste it after this. Once the thread will happen, I mean once the thread did end, and they'll just do a end. You will see that what will happen right now, the application will be dead. See, it is starting, now it is stopping. It is then once that thread does sleep, once that sleep has been completed, then it is again releasing the flow and it is doing end. And again here it is starting, then it is waiting for some time, and once that thread does sleep time is ending, at that time only it is just resuming the flow. So it is synchronous in nature. See, it is putting your application in hold. So it can see it again is put your application in hold. Okay, this particular thread, till the time it will not complete executing, your application will go on hold. Okay, so how can we make it asynchronous? How asynchronously this listeners will be keep listening? Tomorrow I'm gonna let you know. But be very careful whenever you are doing some heavy duty stuff just right here. Okay, I hope you understand that the default behavior of this is synchronous. Tomorrow we're gonna talk more about this. Okay.
Can you tell more about synchronous?
Yeah, tomorrow we'll listen to that. Okay. It's already late, and just whatever I did, make sure to do the practice so that tomorrow you can catch from here. Okay. Cool. Any other questions? Vivek, hi. How are you?
Fine, sir. No question.
No question. I mean, everything made sense.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Yash, no question.
Today you have covered object listener, or this one is the only listener we have in Spring.
This is listener only. Think like this is listener for today. Tomorrow we'll think more about it. Okay.
Okay, sir.
But today whatever we discussed, Yash, made sense.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Willie, you are good.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Is it so much complicated to understand? No, right? Or no, or yes?
Not really.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. Cool, guys. See you guys then tomorrow and same time. Whoever wants to join the session, you can join. Then after 3-4 days, we'll go back to our normal session. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.